Hi there, crochet piece community. So today we're working on the tiny clusters stitch found on page 21 of the Big Book of Crochet Stitches. This stitch starts with a chain multiple of 2 plus 1. So I did a total of 11 chains. You can do as many as you want. That's the great thing about stitch multiples. So they are designed so that you can create the design however large you want it or need it to be. So any multiple of 2 to start out, and then you add the last number 1. Okay, so you could have done 8. You could have even done 4 plus 1. Any multiple of 2. So you can do 10, 12, 20. Okay, so I started out with a total of 10, and then I added the second number, the plus 1. So I have 11. The instructions say to single crochet in the second chain from the hook and in each of the remaining chains. So you can essentially, this would be the first one, and then this would be the second, right? So you want to go in that one right there. I'm going to start in the back bumps, which is if I flip my piece over. So I'm going to start in the back bump. You can essentially use any size yarn and hook for this, just because these are just swatches. And you can make all your swatches the same size if you want, and then put them together to make a blanket. Alright, so going in the second chain from the hook and in each of the remaining ones with a single crochet. Okay, sometimes it's a little tricky getting in that back bump, so sometimes I have to fold it over in half so I can kind of see where it is located. And then once we get to the end, we're going to do 2 turning chains. And then we're going to turn our work. Okay, made it to the end. I'm going to do my 2 turning chains, and then I'm going to turn. So you always know where the top is because the tail is going to be on the bottom. Alright, so there we go. And we should have 10 stitches or 1 less than what we started with, right? Because we went into the second chain from the hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Yep. Okay, so the next row number 2, this is a 3-row pattern repeat. Row number 2 says to skip the turning chain and to do a single crochet cluster, which is a special stitch, and the directions for that are in the book as well, over the next 3 stitches. So a single crochet cluster is done over 3 stitches, right? So we're going to insert into the, so we're not, these are the turning chains, we're skipping those, and we're going to go here and pull up a loop. So yarn, insert, yarn over, and pull up a loop. Next one, insert, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And we're going to do that one more time until we have a total of 4 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4 loops on our hook. We yarn over and pull through all 4 of those, and then we're going to do a chain 1 in between, and we're going to begin again. We're always going to start right here in the last one the last insertion point. So insert, and we're going to do the same thing, getting those 4 loops on. Okay, and if you don't want your piece to be too tight, then you want to kind of pull up a little bit. Alright, and then so we have our 4 loops on, yarn over and pull through all 4. And then we're going to chain 1 and in between and start again. Remember, we're doing it in the last one that we did, and we're just creating 4 loops on. This is a pretty straightforward stitch, but it gives a nice textural design. And then we're going to chain 1 in between and repeat. We're repeating this until we get to the end where we will have 1 stitch remaining. Okay, pull through all 4, chain 1, and then there's our 1 stitch remaining. and we're going to just do a single crochet in that one stitch. And to complete our row, we're going to do a chain 2, and we're going to turn. Okay, so that was the end of row number 2. Row number 3 says to start in the base of the turning chain. So that's a little confusing to me because base of the turning chain sounds like it would be here, but it actually is in the same place. It really should just say skip the turning chain again. All right, so we're going to skip the turning chain and we're going to work a single crochet cluster over the next 3 stitches, same like we did before. Okay, so going in, and you just want to make sure that you're going in all of these because some of these are a little bit smaller because they are actually chains instead of stitches. Okay, and then we're chaining 1, doing the same thing, going into the last one, and remembering to go into all of these, getting our 4 loops on our hook, and chain 1. In between. All right, so this is gonna be the last one for me. And then chain 1, and then it says to do a single crochet in the turning chain. So from the previous row, turning chain, single crochet. Okay, and then of course we do our 2 turning chains and then we turn our work. Okay, yep. Actually, I said it was a 3-row repeat. It's not. We're just repeating the 1 row. So now we're going to just keep doing that. Okay. So same thing like we just did, skipping the turning chains and going into each of the ones across until we have 4 loops. Yarn over, pull through all 4 of those loops, chain 1, and repeat, remembering always to go into the last insertion point. That's our first insertion point for the next one. Try not to do your chains too tight because what I'm noticing is that it makes it harder for me to get into it. And then remember to do your chain 1s in between after you've finished your cluster. And that's it. That's it, that's all, folks. This is the tiny clusters stitch. And then remembering to go into your last turning chain with a single crochet. And then we start the row again with a chain of 2. 1 and 2. Okay. And if you count your stitches, that should help you to know whether or not you've done it correctly. But yeah, there it is. It's a nice little stitch. Edges are nice and straight. Looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4 and a half kind of a cluster thing going on. Yep, tiny clusters. It's cute. So I have a pattern for this. A hat pattern and a scarf pattern. So I'll be sharing that soon. Happy crocheting!